In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful. In this story of Prophet Solomon, it is worth noticing that the Queen Sheba was very intelligent, wise, decisive, premeditative, and visionary woman. Prophet Solomon was blessed with a kingdom, by the Lord Almighty, like of which will never be given to anyone till the end of time. Once he sent a bird named Hoopoe to surveil. It shows that every state or a country in the world needs people who can surveil for them. So the Prophet Solomon said to Hoopoe, "You were absent from a meeting. Unless you will justify your absence, you will not be forgiven," and gave it a letter to deliver to the Queen Sheba, about whom it claimed that she has a very big, well-established kingdom, and she is praising to the sun, instead of the Lord Almighty. To see the reply of Queen Sheba, if she really exists, and to find out if Hoopoe is not making up a story to save himself. Hoopoe delivered that letter to the Queen Sheba. In olden days, the birds were used as a mean of communication. They were tamed and taught how to deliver the letters. Some specific kind of birds, not all the birds. And this bird which we call Hoopoe nowadays is not the same type of that bird. The names have changed with the period of time. Anyways, the letter said, "This is from Solomon, in the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful." Please note that this is a very powerful statement. Do not be hesitant to write in your letters or emails out of respect. Have limits in everything, even respect. Do not worry if your letter accidentally falls on the floor. Lord Almighty is most forgiving. Then the letter said, "The thing is, do not be rebellious, be obedient and come." Then a stamp or signature or whatever they used to end the letter with. That was it. Prophet Solomon used the brevity in his letter. To the point, no extra words. The question arises, how can you thread a well-established estate, to leave everything and come? Actually, Prophet Solomon already conveyed the message in his letter. In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful. Meaning, the Lord Almighty is the only one who has a right to rule over the world. His policies and system will be followed. Other than Lord Almighty, no one has a right to rule over the world. If he has given power or rule to some disbeliever by his will, and believers does not have enough power, then believers should remain patient. But Prophet Solomon had a very powerful kingdom, so there was no question of patience. Nowadays people say that Islam was spread due to power. What about other religions? Did they came into power by distributing chocolates or sweets? Obviously, they also became rulers due to power. Initially, all the kingdoms were formed due to their power. Later the democracy came to make it easier to select the ruler. Islam was not spread by force. You cannot point out one person in the entire world who embraced it by force. The brevity in Prophet Solomon's letter was due to his enormous power and kingdom. This is why he mentioned not to be rebellious, as he will not tolerate it. When the Muslims were powerful, they had this kind of style. This is why Quran says, "Make yourselves powerful, change your style." But if you will change your style without power, then you will have to pay for it. Basically, Prophet Solomon already introduced the Lord Almighty by writing in the letter that he is most gracious, most merciful. The Queen Sheba was very wise and intelligent. She called an assembly of her courtiers, as she was ruling a well-established state. The army, advisors and analysts, all were present. She said, "O my courtiers, I have received a very graceful and respectful invitation letter." After reading the contents in front of them, she said, "I need your advice. Until or unless you will not give your opinion, I will not take a final decision." They were wise too, they replied, "We are a powerful nation, meaning if you will order to fight, then we will not disappoint you." But they were not as smart as Queen Sheba. She did not ask them if they are willing to fight. She asked for their opinion, if, in a given scenario, they should fight or not. It means they were wise, but not as much as compared to the queen herself. They said, "We are powerful and ready to fight, but the decision lies with you. Give us your orders." She was smart and premeditative. That is why she did not take an impulsive decision. She said, "Though you have made it clear that you are ready to fight, but remember, the victorious king or queens are usually very tyrant. They make slaves of eminent people, and destroys the state. If they win, they will do the same. So let us find out first if he is truthful or fraudulent. I will send very expensive and valuable gifts to him. If he will accept them and change his vision, then he is a fraud, and after that if he will threat us, we will fight. Even if he will not threat us, we will still fight because that means he is just arrogant." She gave very expensive gifts to her envoy to deliver them to Prophet Solomon. When the envoy reached Prophet Solomon with gifts, he replied, "You people are trying to help me with your wealth? The resources that Lord Almighty has provided me are far better than your wealth. Go back and tell your queen Sheba that the second letter will not come. Hoopoe has better things to do. I will come with an army you have never heard of, and you will not be able to stand in front of it." There were ghosts, human beings, and other creatures in that army, so obviously no one could have defeated it. They will throw all the eminent people out of their land, and they will be disgraced. And I will not be lenient anymore. If there will be a fight, then you will see the power from us. When the envoy returned to Queen Sheba and conveyed the threat of Prophet Solomon, she again called the council to take their advice and decided that they should go to Prophet Solomon for a peaceful dialogue. As after the threat, fighting with him would be a suicide. The Quran says Prophet Solomon got the report that Queen Sheba is on her way to him. He wanted to introduce Lord Almighty to her, so he thought if she will hear him out without a fight, that will be awesome. There is a narration in Al-Hadith, "Never desire to start a fight with your enemy." In Islam, the war is not likable action. One should try to resolve the dispute with a peaceful dialogue. But if your enemy imposes the war on you, then be patient, and remember that the paradise is under the shadows of swords. That was the reason Prophet Solomon was not in a favor of a war, and thought that if she accepts the word of Lord Almighty without a fight, then why to fight? Plus she is a queen. If she will accept Islam, then her followers will accept it too. So he decided to show her miracles from the Lord Almighty, as it will help her to witness that these are not from human beings. He is a true prophet of God and Lord Almighty is with him. He got an idea to bring the throne of Queen Sheba before her arrival, as it was very heavy, decorated with royal jewels, and obviously impossible to be with him before she reaches him. When she will see it, she will be surprised. As there were no aircrafts at that time to deliver things to take months, Prophet Solomon gathered his courtiers, including ghosts, and asked, "Is there any one of you who can bring the throne of Queen Sheba before her arrival?" The Quran says one of the ghosts said, "You are asking for her throne before her arrival? I can bring it before the conclusion of this meeting." There was a pious man sitting in the meeting. He was not a prophet but had a knowledge of a holy book called Zabur, said, "This ghost is claiming that he can bring it before the conclusion of this meeting. I can bring it in a blink of an eye." He just finished his sentence, and the throne was there in front of Prophet Solomon. When Prophet Solomon saw the throne in front of him, he said, "This is a blessing of my Lord on me. My Lord Almighty is testing me, if I will be thankful to him, or unthankful." Then he said, "Look, a person who is thankful benefits himself, Lord does not have any benefit from it. And if someone is unthankful, he cannot cause any harm to the Lord Almighty. He is not in a need of human beings or anyone to respect him. He is already most respectful, most giving." When the throne was there in front of him, he thought, when the Queen Sheba will arrive, she will recognize it immediately, as it was a unique throne. To give her a surprise, he told his courtiers to make slight changes and finds out the truth afterwards, it has more effect on the person. When the Queen Sheba arrived, he asked her, "Look at this throne, does it not resemble your throne?" When she saw it, she was really surprised and said, "It looks like mine. It is very impressive that you got it made exactly like my throne." She thought the bird Hoopoe told them how it looks like, and they made a copy of it with minor changes, as she never thought it is possible
Then she
to
said,
get her throne
"We
in
knew
a
the
blink of an
technology
eye. That the Lord Almighty has blessed you with is unique, but did not know that it would be this unique. Very impressive." Prophet Solomon said, "You may enter this palace now." The floor of the palace was so crystal clear that apparently it looked like water. It was very diligently made. It also shows that if the Lord Almighty has blessed you with resources, then it is permissible in Islam to build a luxurious house. If you have good intentions and deeds, then God will be happy with you. Your message will be better heard, as compared to if you live in a cottage. When the Queen Sheba saw that crystal clear floor, she thought it is water and picked up her clothes from her feet to save them from getting wet. Prophet Solomon saw what she was doing and said, "It is not water, it is made of crystal clear glass, and designed in a way that it looks like a water pond." When she witnessed these two miracles, first the throne and then this floor, she realized that he is a true messenger of the Lord Almighty, and he has been blessed with many resources. She accepted the message of the Lord Almighty and asked him to forgive her. She said, "O my Lord, I have been tyrant to prostrate the sun instead of you, O my Lord. I believe just like Solomon, along with Solomon, in the God who is a sustainer of all the universe." The Lord Almighty accepted her repentance, and forgave her in a way that he has mentioned her in the Holy Book Quran, and made her a role model for the people to come till the end of time. At the end, I would like to provide you with a quick comparative analysis between Queen Sheba and Pharaoh, as a proof that how wise she was. When she called the council the first time after receiving the letter from Prophet Solomon, she figured it out that the sender of this letter is not an ordinary person. How? By the length of the contents of it. It was a very short letter, to the point, a message, a threat and an invitation, all in one. That shows her smart observation. Secondly, she called a meeting to discuss pros and cons before taking a decision. That shows she was not impulsive, and did not react immediately. She was decisive. From Prophet Solomon. How? She said to her courtiers that I will take an advice from you, but the decision will lie with me. And the reason I am taking an advice is, it will be easier to take a decision. Lastly, her decision to test Prophet Solomon first was very clever, because, if she would have said to the army right away, not to fight, that would have given a bad impression of her as a leader. The army would have said, she is taking impulsive decisions without letting us the reason, and she is coward. She said, if fighting will be beneficial for us, then we will fight, otherwise not. On the other hand, if we take a look at Pharaoh, Prophet Moses did not send a letter. He went to him along with his brother Aaron. The Lord Almighty told him to politely convey the message and not to be threatening. He might accept the message. Then Moses showed him miracles, and he already knew Moses from his childhood that he is not a liar, he is a pious person. But look at his mental level, that he did not accept the message of the Lord Almighty. Whereabout Queen Sheba did not blindly started to follow Prophet Solomon, but she tested him, met him in person, and then accepted the message of Lord Almighty.